The Melbourne Marching Girls, the very first time we've had girls from that great state of Victoria.
They're paying homage to the original marching girls of the 50s and 60s, hence those cute little American outfits.
They welcome bisexual women of all shapes and sizes. Again, if you find yourself picking up sticks in your garden and twirling them, you could be having homosexual tendencies.
I think I'm yes on all counts you've given so far today.
Let's hear some more about these marching girls from Melbourne.
Yeah. Here's Vicky Jones and Robin Freestone.
It was Robin Freestone's idea to start a marching group this year, and she asked me if I would assist, and I promptly said yes. And I'd been a dyke on a bike before in Mardi Gras, and this time I wanted to march down Oxford Street with a bunch of women, and there's nothing like it.
Very interesting that she'd go from being a bike on dyke to a twirler. That would be a dyke on bike, I do beg your pardon.
What did you say? A bike on dyke?
I got a little bit confused about who was on the bottom and who was on the top.
Nice variation of the kangaroo on the bike for the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Look, the skyline is alight. How wonderful. There's plenty more to come, so don't go away. Make a cup of tea, and that's all. You're watching the 2000 Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras. I'll be back in a tick.
As well as in the city around Sydney. But let's forget Sydney, because Melbourne is what matters. The Melbourne Marching Girls, showing the kind of intellectual rigour and commitment to movement that we expect from Melbourne, that Sydney people are simply not capable.
And this year, their last year was their debut in the parade, and this year they're going with a more futuristic theme. Barbarella is the inspiration. I hope they don't get attacked by any budgies like she did in the movie. But yes, they've taken a more futuristic approach to their last year's, which was a 30s and 40s theme.
Galaxy Girls, they're demonstrating a capacity. Ah, yes! Here is Caroline in her motorised wheelchair, decked out as a satellite space station. And I think, by the way Caroline's jigging about in that electric chair there, that she's having a tremendously good Mardi Gras.
She needs to slow down. She seems to be overtaking everybody else. She's getting a bit carried away there.
There's actually a large group of people in wheelchairs at the top of the Mardi Gras parade at Taylor Square. I think she's heading towards them at high speed.
Now, the girls range in age from 23 to 55, and they also include a grandmother who actually thinks it's hysterical that she's performing as a marching girl at her age. But I say no. I say it's good to see. Well done.
I do think that the Melbourne women are demonstrating a greater capacity to move in a synchronised manner than the women from Sydney. I think it's because of the weather in Melbourne. All that rain, you stay inside and you wiggle your lightsaber and you get a certain sense of
a lot more time to rehearse, to prepare, to create, Julie, to workshop, if you would.
All right, here I am back down on the street. Now, what's your name, lovey?
I'm Vicky from the Marching Girls.
Okay, how many years have you been marching here at the parade?
This is our second year.
And how are you feeling? A little bit more choreographically aligned?
We are beautiful this year. We were beautiful last year, but this year I think we're even more colourful.
How did you get so many natural redheads in one place?
A little bit of synthetic assistance.
Well, look, I'm familiar with that. So let's just do a big cheers to the synthetic. Happy Mardi Gras.
Jen and all made their way into the city this morning. What a sight.
And isn't it just amazing that when Parliament opened for the first time in 1901, there was also the 205 cattlemen. So our ancestors also would have been experiencing this.
There's a look at some of the people all enjoying today's march. As we said, the crowd upwards of 250,000 at the moment. Of course, we had 300,000 lining Melbourne back in 1901. 250,000 today, but there's a few people still to come, obviously.
And some more paper sellers here, 1941 to 1950. Menzies resigns in 1941. Darwin was raided in 1942.
Yes, and we found out in 1949 that Melbourne won the rights to host the 1956 Olympic Games. And what an event that turned out to be for Melbourne and Victoria. And we're having another fantastic event here today. And it's our pleasure at this point to welcome the Premier of Victoria, Mr. Steve Bracks, is with us today. Steve, thanks for your time today.
I'm very pleased to be here.
It must be a wonderful event for you to sit out there and see all this happening.
Well, it's fantastic, and the thing I feel is pride. Pride in all of Australia being here, but also pride in every bit of Victoria, the country areas, the multicultural nature of Melbourne and Victoria, which is represented so well here. And you can't help but be emotional in something like this, and to see so many Victorians again come out in numbers.
And the Melbourne Marching Girls. Now, these are in fact girls, is that correct? Absolutely. These are bad girls this year. They're in little skirts with gold breasts and devil's horns. They're endeavouring. They're going. Well, give them a go. They've come all the way up the highway from Melbourne. People have marched. And there we have our marching girls from Melbourne. This is like a surreal drill. We go ambulance, we go police, we go sexy dancers from Victoria.
As window dressing. Here's Laurie Oakes.
The Melbourne Marching Girls, regular stars of Sydney's gay and lesbian Mardi Gras, kicked off the celebrations outside Canberra's Convention Centre even before the vote was taken. Former Victorian Premier Joan Kerner and other Labor women joined in the dancing because factions had agreed behind the scenes that at least 40% of Labor's seats, state and federal, are to be held by women within 10 years. And Oakes, National.
At the next federal election, the party has set a 10-year target to increase the number of women in Parliament and in key party positions.
Marching Girls heralded the start of the debate at Labor's special national conference to strengthen the party's affirmative action rules. Labor women want guaranteed pre-selection for at least 40% of party positions and winnable seats, up from the current target of 35%. Supporters such as the former Victorian Premier Joan Kerner argue the changes will mean by the end of the decade the ALP would be the first major political party in Australia to have a critical mass of women MPs in all Australian parliaments. Leader Simon Cross as his authority.
50% of Labor MPs should be women, but the party's given itself 10 years to achieve the target.
All singing, all dancing. Labor women celebrated their victory even before it had been confirmed by the special conference. Their celebrations were premature. The increase in Labor's quota of women MPs from 35 to 40% was at risk until a last-minute compromise.
We're moving this resolution here today so that we can even things up. We know that things are not equal in our party.
And a group of Victoria Police has just finished making history as the first ever officers to wear their uniforms in Melbourne's Gay and Lesbian Pride March. Reporter Claire Brady joins me now from St Kilda, where the festivities are continuing.
A steamy day for the march, set to raise the temperature in St Kilda.
I think it's great that the police are here to show their support for the whole community, to celebrate the fact that we've got a very diverse Victoria.
About 50,000 joined in the 7th annual march. Organisers feel the Victoria Police presence is a sign of respect towards the gay community. Claire Brady, 7 News.